See if that actually stays through remainder of the year, and maybe a first MSI thing to see later on. But pretty standard bans. No Rumble, Mbessa makes sense. I mean, Zehen, Jax, Sion into the Mbessa, things that you can play with the Rumble ban. So, and Talia is up in mid with the Rise ban. I could see that getting played. We have seen a bit of priority of Galio rising up as well globally. And we were talking about Knight playing it last night. Or you could just go with the flavor of the month, the very easy to execute, guarantee yourself bot lane prio, Ashe Seraphine lane that has been really rising up. You could not take the Seraphine. You
don't need to. They're not going to take it.
Is it at risk of taking it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think I think if you're going to separate this duo, I think you would rather have the Ashe plus different support than the Seraphine plus different AD carry. So I think Ultra Prime are willing to dangle that one out there and call out, hey, missing, you're not going to pick Seraphine Ezreal here, and he doesn't. So it will be the Karma Ezreal duo. By the way, yeah, looping back to that first selection point you brought up earlier, yeah, based on what we're reading here, it looks like Ultra Prime with the selection chose that they wanted counter pick, and LNG chose blue side, which is different than most teams do.
They just wanted some normal looking drafting. That's what they said, man, this is too confusing. True. I just want it to look good for the viewers. So big ups LNG there, making it easy for us to see. This bot lane is absolute chaos. Ezreal Karma against Ashe Seraphine. Double range support, path bot all game. It is about bot this game. It's about the push. This lane is about the push. Ezreal Karma wants push. Ashe Seraphine wants the push. Later on, short, level 6, it's about the ults and the CC and the team fight from the Ashe Seraphine. But early game, the push, the dragon stacking is super important.
Yeah, I'm very curious where this Mbessa ends up going, by the way. The Mbessa prio, kind of a new territory for LNG. Historically, neither of these teams very big on the Mbessa. Neither have played it top lane all season long. When Ultra Prime have gotten it, they've played it in the jungle for Grizzly. This is LNG's first Mbessa game, period, in 2026. We'll see if that ends up in Croco's hands, or if they do give it to Sheer fresh off a really strong laning performance against Liangchen in game number 1. I wonder if they're just going to say, here, man, take the Mbessa and go crazy.
I do like the Vi as a early selection for Grizzly, meaning that even if you do pick the Ezreal, the Karma, something with a bunch of range, the Vi can close the gap very effectively. But this is a very different look than game 1, where bot and support were picked later in the draft. This time it's in the top 3, and we're mostly waiting on, I mean, it's top and jungle, but the mid lane selection. Saber did not have a great game on the Orianna, and BuLLDog did have a great game on the Azir, and that's an Orianna early favored matchup. So for Saber, do you give yourself counter pick here and pick a top lane blind with the Sion ban? Maybe. Ultra Prime aren't convinced this Mbessa is going top.
That certainly seems to be the case as they take away the Sion here. I don't think they're anticipating Sion jungle, although that did get buffed a little bit a while ago. They're going to take a flex pick for mid-top. That's a good idea. Liangchen and Saber. Although I don't know how good it feels to play Aurora into Mbessa. We will see. I mean, it's a little bit of a range advantage, but also a squishy health bar when she does get on top of you. BuLLDog, flicking around through a few picks, shows off one of Saber's pocket picks in the Zoe. I would be surprised if he locked this in.
I would be happy if you locked this in. This is very fun. Please do it. Yes!
Wow!
I love this champion in pro play. This team has a massive range advantage. This is the game plan. It doesn't, like, the surrounding parts don't particularly matter. Yeah, there's a dive aspect to it, or a rush aspect, I guess you can kind of call it, with the Nefiri potential and obviously the Mbessa. But it is about the range. This game is all about BuLLDog and 1xN. They have to be hitting their spells. Push needs to be earned in bot lane. And even Nefiri, it's a bit weird to say, but Nefiri is also a poke champion because of those Qs. The double stack Q, the bleed potential. There is a ton of damage. It will be the Aurora mid, so Cassante weak side and the top side. Ultra Prime, again, great team fighting draft, right? They have options in their fight. They've got good damage through mid and bot. They have selection with Grizzly, but LNG. LNG's comp is very fun. It's hard to execute on because it's all about hitting those skill shots.
Yeah, it absolutely is here. I mean, what an aggressive and kind of skill-emphasized comp that LNG have gone for here. They go for the Nefiri, which you don't get to see too much of these days. They go for the Zoe, which I don't see outside of North American Tier 2 pretty much ever. I know, there's been one game picked up here by Saber previously, but I'm definitely excited to see BuLLDog and what he's going to be able to do on it. And this is definitely a mid-jungle duo that can burst out some unexpected damage if you play disrespectfully towards it. So Saber going to have his wits about him here on this Aurora. Make sure he doesn't get snagged by a stray bubble and potentially burst it out by the assassin coming in from the jungle.
I mean, BuLLDog's from the LCK. There are some pretty good LCK Zoes. I mean, there was a Zoe not main, but very good Zoe player in Worlds Finals last year. So practiced against it. This is something that we haven't seen a ton of this year, and it was finding places in 2025 towards the end of the year. I'm happy to see it back. It is a little cringe to play against, but I think it's incredibly fun to watch when Zoe starts popping off on a teamfight Gordo. The range is really big for LNG.
Certainly is here as we get on Summoner's Rift for game number 2.
I got some bad news. That's some bad news. I did some research. BuLLDog all time, 2 Zoe games. How many do you think he won?
Well, you told me it's bad news, so I'm guessing it's probably 0.
Yeah, it's 0. So this is BuLLDog's 3rd career game on Zoe. He has not won a single one of them yet, but BuLLDog has been on the lower end LCK team, so you've got to take that with a grain of salt. Sometimes only 2 games. If it was 10, 15 with like a 20%, 0 to 20% win rate, that's very scary, but doesn't strike me with a ton of confidence. Gets to go the Ignite though in the mid lane. Another thing we've been seeing a little bit is because of the Home Guard's early trade here in bot, as Ultra Prime will use heal and force barrier out of 1xN, but his mid lane is going combat summoners because of the Home Guard. Zoe loves having that Ignite, being able to proc her W passive and get some summoner spells back of her own.
Yeah, definitely a desire to play this mid lane matchup aggressively. And like you said, never won a game of Zoe before, but oh, XiaoXia just takes a huge chunk of damage up way too far, gets hit by every skill shot, and drops in the 2 versus 2. That's the 1xN and missing lane duo we've been waiting for.
The lethal tempo Ezreal does massive work there. It's a very, very dominant early game pick. I mean, this lane historically, like Ezreal Karma is very hard to break, if not impossible in the early stages. Ezreal Karma, I'm thinking like this year and the end of last year Karma, but 2022, specifically Worlds, like when Karma was really, really good and everyone was playing her because it gives you push in bot lane like nearly guaranteed if the enemy can't find like an all-in, and finding some more priority at the end of 2025 now, very highly prioritized in 2026. And Ultra Prime overplay their hand. They force out the heal, they use the heal, force out the barrier of 1xN, but Missing just uses his own heal, finds the tether stun, and takes down XiaoXia for first blood. 1xN, very aggressively played, but well played.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give the credit to Missing and 1xN here, but oh no, XiaoXia, your champion is so squishy at level 2, brother. You're just going to have to let some of these minions drop until you get the backup that you need. Grizzly arrives in the bottom lane, waiting in the tri-brush. But here's the other thing about this lane duo from LNG. It's very safe. As long as 1xN doesn't shift in like that, he's probably going to be completely safe. Of course, Grizzly saw that shift, and now here he comes, right on cue. Gets the chain CC on through. 1xN going to flash away, but it's too little. It's too late. He's been caster cursed. A volley will take him down.
Yeah, you see Grizzly, like, it's like he was looking away, snapped his head back to the screen. What was that? As the arcane shift comes through, the base got cancelled instantly. He pressed S, and he knows it is now time to gank 1xN. To use flash as well, and still ends up dying, unfortunately, for 1xN. But Hena finds a kill back. So despite the early lane being very rough, you know, there was like a freeze being set up too. This lane does not look fun for Seraphine in the early game. She just has to get hit. Oh, if that was Mantra Q, that was a kill. I thought it might have been, but 7 seconds on that cooldown. If 1xn had missing had a ward there, or maybe played it a little slower, that would have been a really nice live. But Hena pulling one back will mean there's only a slight gold lead for 1xn now.
Definitely. And so Hena gonna have to get back into the lane, enjoy that kill, see if the Berserker Greaves are going to be enough for him to be able to contest here. XiaoXia still needs to have his wits about him in this 2 versus 2 with the poke damage coming in from the Ezreal and the Karma. But good job by Grizzly to punish that aggressive play style from 1xn and missing. Once again, I mean, this is 2 games in a row now. I think Grizzly's done a good job of identifying that you can kind of pick on this LNG bot lane. When faced with an opportunity to go aggressive, they will take it more often than not, and that does appear to be punishable. Any teams looking ahead at a potential LNG match in their schedule may be paying attention to that here.
I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not too versed in some mid lane matchups like Zoe versus Aurora. Haven't really seen a ton of that, but BuLLDog has Airy and Saber has Electrocute. And I know that you can be very slippery on Zoe, but not before level 6 you can't. I don't think this matchup is 500 gold worth of CS hard. That seems ridiculous. I feel like BuLLDog must be playing this lane incredibly well. We haven't been able to see too much of his trading. We've been mostly focused on bot, and Grizzly is too.
And Grizzly arriving into bot once again. Nice flash vault breaker on a 1xn, but this time he has the shift to create the distance. Missing without that luck, will have to blow his flash and heal, but does get out to safety as well. Croco clears out that second scuttler in the meanwhile, and that means he's going to be the one to hit level 6 first. Grizzly giving up on the opportunity to go for that to try to make the bot lane play.
I'm surprised. Maybe he thinks that this is the timer. LNG are way too far forward, and I need to go now, but he was able to get that Scuttle Crab with the Ashe Seraphine roaming up and then gank bot or then gank mid maybe. It looks a lot better for that 3v2, for Ultra Prime. Instead, missing uses flash, but nice damage, BuLLDog. So does Grizzly. So Grizzly uses flash. Looks like Hena used flash. The timer is the same, but I didn't quite see where Hena flashed. That's a massive pull out from Ultra Prime to try to get something, and all they got was one flash from a support.
Yeah. Looping back to the mid lane matchup, I think you're right, Jbetto, that it doesn't have to be this rough. To give Saber a little bit of credit, BuLLDog does have Combat Summoner, which I think makes it a little tougher.
That's true.
And we did also pan through mid and see him pick up an exhaust off of one of the first balloons. That's just busted, man. That's just RNG is your best friend right there. Getting a strong combat summoner like the exhaust nice and early for free. Just casting it on your opponent, guaranteeing a trouble bubble, guaranteeing a battle star. It's nuts. And so Saber getting the wrong end of Riot Games' goodwill there.
It does feel pretty bad. If that is what happened, maybe BuLLDog took a really, really aggressive trade. But I will say, still being on 20 CS because of a combat summoner is awful for Saber to try to lane against. Because the boots have been completed for BuLLDog. I talk about this a ton. The early boots pickup is very common in mid because of you get the boots upgrade, and BuLLDog has more CS plus more plate and probably more damage. So he's going to hit his quest completed way quicker. And then BuLLDog also will have option to get item most likely first. Missing caught by the arrow.
Takes a fair chunk of damage, but the return monster Q doing a boatload here. They're just trying to block for each other on these Mystic shots, but 1xn, good accuracy. Misses one more Q at the end. Here comes Grizzly, though. He's got Cease and Desist available, and there's no more summoner heal available. They do still have access to the barrier. 1xZ going to have to use that right off the bat, but they're going to burst him right through it. Root connects onto Grizzly, missing at least going to be able to get that kill back, and here comes BuLLDog. Sleepy Trouble Bubble connects onto Hena, and BuLLDog will finish off that kill, picks up a heal as well, gets himself a double kill, and now Saber might be up too far. BuLLDog going to be able to pop that summoner heal, get a little bit faster, blows the flash of his lane opponent. BuLLDog arrives to the bot lane and wreaks havoc.
BuLLDog mechanically proficient. 0% win rate, remember, it is across 2 games. You know, grain of salt, but still, roaming down, making a really nice play. LNG are absolutely dead here. It would be better if XiaoXia has ult. If he was level 6, this is done and dusted instantly, but Grizzly does die. And then a really nice bubble, plus the Q earlier from BuLLDog. He's fighting 1v3 with pretty low mana. Plays it picture perfect with the enhanced autos, the really nice Q angle earlier onto Ash. And BuLLDog, a 1.2k gold lead, 1.3k gold lead, sorry, in this mid lane. Already he was, showing off how well he can play this Zoe, but the lane is going to get even worse. I mean, he's very close to Ludens. Once that comes through, he's going to be full item plus upgraded boots soon. The dragon will spawn and LNG will most likely be at 2.
Yeah, really good start for LNG here, especially on this kind of poke-focused composition. Just going to be looking to keep their distance, whittle down health bars, and will, of course, need to be able to survive once that volume.
Oh my god, wait, top lane. Top lane exists. I forgot. We've been in bot so long, Gordo. I forgot that there were top laners in this game, to be honest. I think I don't know what Croco's been doing either. He hasn't been anywhere. But we've just been camera locked bot all game.
Yeah, I mean, Croco's been building up a 15 CS lead. That's about 3 or 4 camps, and just wants to get onto his first Nefiri item. I think it might not be, the worst thing in the world if he had been able to show up mid, but frankly, Saber's been under turret the entire game. I don't really know what Croco's going to be able to do about that. He's got Sphere of Shojin now, though, so should be ready to get out here and get a little bit of action going. I don't think top lane matters at all, though, Jbetto. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think these guys... Nobody's building up a 2k gold lead individually this time, and I think they're just going to be, exchanging some blows, flexing some muscles. Quest completed.
First quest.
For sheer.
Ash ult into mid. Ooh.
Swing and a miss.
That's close. It was a near miss. I think he heard that whiz past his ear and a bead of sweat rolled down BuLLDog's forehead and went, yeah, that was calculated movement. But in LNG,
Hena.
They have run of the map right now.
The dinner bell has been rung. A true shot barrage finds its way onto Hena. Croco dashing forward with the ultimate. Can't quite finish off the kill, but will be able to get it. Gets the reset, finds a double kill, and Croco is on the board. A quiet start for the jungler, but no longer as he picks up 2.
LNG make that look so easy. They're diving a tier 2 and they're all nearly full health. I guess missing was tanking it with shield, but if that's the case, like, that's ridiculous. I guess Croco dropped aggro with W. I'm not sure about the interaction with that, but that is not an easy dive to have happen. You're diving tier 2 with the tier 1 still available. And LNG, they understand that their early game from game 1 was not the best and completely flipping it around in this game too.
And well done there. Croco's off to the races now as well. I want to shout him out as well for using the most disgusting Nefiri skin.
The Glizzy Nefiri?
It's not just Glizzy Nefiri, it's the green Glizzy Nefiri with, like, the purple accents. I don't even know what that's supposed to be, man. But, you know what? There's a mental advantage to using the worst-looking skins.
Yeah, no one wants to be near you, so Croco just farms up to his first item, which was Shojin, actually. Haven't seen Jungle Nefiri in a while, but Shojin first is an interesting choice. I mean, more ability haste, a bit more damage when you're spamming your abilities, and the fights have been going long, but I mean, BuLLDog is so fed right now. Full Ludens, and so does Saber, but also the upgraded Lucidities has got 6 stacks on Darkseal as well, working on this second item that I assume is going to be like Shadow Flame, or maybe it's going to be Horizon Focus, even though it's been changed. I still think the ability haste is probably pretty good on Annie, but LNG have full control. It feels like, Gordo, we left game 1 and picked straight back up where game 1 left off.
Yeah, LNG still in a dominant position here. Yeah, top lane, man. What about it? it's just getting played out here in front of your eyes. We'll take a look in occasionally just to make sure those players are still connected to the game. Oh, nice. Great shift from 1xN. Gets out of the Enchanted Crystallero at the last possible moment, and now XiaoXia just locked in way too far up. Does connect a point of blank encore, but it is too little. It is too late, and 1xN gonna put him down.
I have to say, like, good attempt. It is a really good look from Hena. If that had hit, the combo might have been enough. Like, 1xN has no cleanse and there's no Mikhails at all yet. So it's a very confident, I'll say, scary start for 1xN.
Oh, Grizzly gets another combo on a cross. They use 2 ultimates. 1xN trying to dance away, staying alive. Finally, Saber will get him with the 2-fold hex. It's a lot of resources blown, but they have successfully picked the Ezreal.
That was a pretty bad caster curse too. I'm sorry, 1xN. My bad on that one. But really nice pick from Ultra Prime. It is good to see Grizzly linking up with Saber and XiaoXia a little bit, finding some priority across the map. Croco, the Q1 goes very wide, but this hot dog has a bite to it.
Oh, wow, dashing forward. Croco maybe going to get boiled here if he's not careful. Going to have to dash back over the wall, but now he's got multiple members trying to collapse onto him. Has plenty of mobility in his kit, but not enough to get away from Grizzly. Another Vault Breaker connects, shutdown gold to that Vi.
We're having a bit of fun in this game. 1xN Arcane shifting forward pretty aggressively and getting caught by Grizzly there before. And now Croco sending it incredibly aggressively, giving over that shutdown to Grizzly, but and they're still 2,500 gold up. It's Mouth and Soul this game, and will make them very, very tanky. But I'm not sure if I want to, say that, oh, this is LNG making mistakes, or whether it's just they are kind of having fun a little bit and playing very aggressive, going for all these plays. This game has no impact on standings whatsoever, but I think that Ultra Prime have been, they've been given a couple of ins here, and we've found some synergy on this team so far, but this game, for me, it's... Oh, hold on. Over the wall.
Liangchen fighting a nice little combo there. Sheer just chucks an ultimate out to the side. No reason. No purpose. Not going to be able to find anything. Croco, good dodge with the call of the pack. Gets out of the Enchanted Crystallero. Two-shot barrage finds its way through onto 2. They're going to try for the engage onto Croco. He flashes back away. There is going to be the cease and desist found onto him, and he will be locked down. Sheer trying to fight up against 3 on the other side. He's going to get melted down. Missing is getting bursted out. Grizzly finishes that kill. It goes over to Saber, and 3 members of LNG just died for nothing, Jbetto.
Yeah, BuLLDog's just up here in top lane going, guys, can we relax? We've got 2 Drakes. We probably don't need to fight, a minute before the 3rd one. I'm pushing top. But LNG get punished for their mistakes again. Sheer way too far forward. Gets ulted over the wall by Liangchen. And last game it was the Orianna I wasn't incredibly impressed with. This game it's kind of the Ashe Seraphine for me. I haven't really felt like it's found as much impact as we've seen it have. But this fight it does really well. Grizzly against the Glizzy finds the kill here, but the encore onto Saber in the back, Sheer in the backline, does a really good job of killing him, and then missing on 1xN way too far forward after their jungler dies, so missing gets picked off. But somehow we come out alive, Gordo, and LNG are still on the Drake, and no one from Ultra Prime is anywhere around.
Yeah, Croco well equipped to be able to, do some solo work on these objectives with We Are More. Has his little cocktail hot dogs there to be able to do a little work on to the objective with him. That will, of course, open up for the Rift Herald to start by Grizzly.
Do they even get this?
Clearly not, because he's bailed over the wall. He's
well,
out of there.
TP.
But now do 1xN and Missing want to tank it up. I don't know if either team knows who's taking this one. TP's being channeled, like you said. Might be a 5-on-5 for this objective. On Vision is Sheer. Liangchen on Vision as well as he's getting chunked down. Enchanted Crystallero connects, as does the Encore. They're looking for the one-shot onto Sheer. Repudiation not enough. 5-man True Shot Barrage feels pretty good for 1xN, but having an extra member feels even better for Ultra Prime. XiaoXia takes a big chunk from another Paddle Star, and the poke of LNG starting to be felt. Ultra Prime back away.
Well, there's that combo I was talking about, finding some success from Ultra Prime, but it took so long for Xia to die. He's caught off so far away on a ward, and if he was with his team at all, that wouldn't have worked. BuLLDog does so much damage to XiaoXia, and that will call the play off. For Ultra Prime, they're down Soul Point. It's a 1.3k gold lead. You know, that feels fairly irrelevant, but it's not. Grizzly is pulling the gold back nearly 1,000 gold, and it's a Vi. That means nothing. Nefiri scales infinitely better than Vi does, and Vi doesn't scale as bad as she used to because of how important team fights are again, but it does, like, items on Vi, this is her full build. She needs boots and maybe a GA, and that's max build that she's going to get. You don't need anything more than that. It's 1.5k on a Zoe, who they can't reach. Maybe Grizzly has to ult over 2 walls to get. And, I mean, 1xN not only has this 500 gold lead, but is playing super well like we just see here. So just, it's only 1.2 on the screen, but it actually feels like a whole lot more in actuality.
LNG's ult and ghosts and some of these fights that we're dropping in on. Shears chucking out, public execution, True Shot Barrage flying out in the middle of nowhere. Little awkward, but still showing that he is willing to play up and aggressive into the Ashe, and he could do that on 2 items. The 2-item Ezreal, quite strong in the 1-versus-1 against the 2-item Ashe, especially if you are able to connect those abilities. They will be backing on away in mid lane. Still hovering around this top side. They've picked up the outer turrets on both fronts. They're trying to lay down a line of vision inside the enemy jungle to try to set up to be able to work on this Baron that has just spawned. I don't think they're going to prioritize it too heavily. Here's an engage coming on in, though. Encore comes across the team. BuLLDog getting locked down nice and early, and he will drop. Executed by the jungler. Into the backside is Sheer with the public execution. Finds his way on towards Hena. Now trying to back away and regroup with the rest of the squad. He will be able to successfully do so. Doesn't take too much damage for it either. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Carry for carry, mid laner for bot laner.
Grizzly's playing this game very well. Okay, this is not fair. As soon as I say his name, Gordo, they just sniff him out, and now he's dead.
That's what having the dog on your team will do for you, although he's kind of winning out the one-on-one. He needs missing for the backup. Finally, Dark and Daggers will do the work, and 1xN going to take down a turret in mid lane. So somehow that 1-for-1 ends up a 2-for-1 with a inner turret to LNG.
I mean, BuLLDog goes over the wall. And this is the interaction I was talking about, where Vi can follow Zoe back, but I was worried it was going to be too far. But with the Encore, XiaoXia can actually follow with the damage, with CC, sorry. So it gets extended by Saber, and then hits onto the 2 here, which is great. So BuLLDog dies very quickly. Unfortunately for Ultra Prime, Hena gets clipped by the public execution and also dies. I'm shocked that from this angle here, Grizzly says, yeah, my blue.
Yeah, that's a little nuts from Grizzly there. I will also say, I mean, I was just about to say this vision line doesn't mean much. You can't do Baron as LNG with all the opponents up with Zoe Ezreal as your carries. But they full send it for an engage anyway, and LNG somehow come up on top, so silly me, I suppose. There's ways to gain gold other than threatening to start the objective.
I mean, what I want to see from LNG is holding that line, right? Holding the poke line. Croco caught. Just instantly
there
dead.
Goes
There's
the
a TP
dog.
in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a free meal for Ultra Prime right there, and that's 40 seconds where no jungler is going to be available. This was their soul, Jbetto. LNG playing sloppier than we've seen them most of this season.
No ult slow from Ultra Prime, so they can't have a fight at all. So you're fully at the mercy of the poke from LNG, but it's just not hitting yet.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage not quite sent out yet. The CP Trouble Bubble not connecting. Sheer kind of struggling in as frontline, taking way too much damage. Has to cleanse, has to get away. Liangchen absorbing a lot of this poke and doing a pretty solid job of it. Walks away with half HP. Ultra Prime get their first dragon of the game, and LNG really wishing that they had a jungler for that play.
Yeah, the gold doesn't change at all. It's still almost the exact same, you know, 1,000 for BuLLDog and 1xN, and then the big gold lead for Grizzly, which, again, doesn't really matter. Once he gets this GA, that's kind of it for a Vi. But denying the Dragon's Soul gives you 5 more minutes, now 4 more minutes, to get some items on your carries, right? There's the Shadow Flame completed for Saber, working on, looks like, the BT for Hena, and those are important items, right? You are at the mercy of the range, and that is very difficult to play against, but the way that this LNG comp works is... Oh, that did so much damage with the sleep true damage, but if LNG can keep this distance and do what we're seeing here, they win. But if Grizzly can continue to find these angles, Gordo, like he did onto BuLLDog, like he did onto Croco, the LNG draft just doesn't have enough survivability to live through the damage in the CC. They know he's here somewhere.
Yeah, they sniff him out, even without Nefiri in the area, missing. Going to find him on the scanner. Target acquired, but Saber is here as well, and missing might be the one who gets punished for it. Enchanted Crystal Arrow locks on to BuLLDog, and now he's going to have trouble getting out. Saber gets a quick double kill, and now it belongs to Ultra Prime as they try to start on up the Baron.
BuLLDog flashes into the arrow. Croco is here this time. Baron shreds you a ton. 1xN and Xia are going to have to go massive with some damage if they want to not lose Baron here to 5 members of Ultra Prime.
Yeah, the damage here from 1xN is huge. An attempted flash encore doesn't connect onto anybody, but look at Sheer diving into the backline, trying to set up this play. Just doesn't work out for him. 1xN and Croco, it's all in their hands now, but the Baron is already gone. Liangchen right in their face. Will he be able to be finished off in time? Surely they can get at least one back, but Croco just taking so much damage, forced off the play. 1xN shifts forward, slowed by another volley, but still firing out these Mystic shots, still shifting forward, still trying to find the play, but there just isn't enough damage. Ultra Prime get away with all 5 members.
They can't even get one Baron off LNG. I think what Sheer did looks really questionable, but I think the reason he goes in when he does is when the Encore goes on his backline, he has to send it to create like a front-to-back dive, right? And protect his team. I'll talk about that in a moment. Missing is just caught. Grizzly is playing so well. Fine. This is 3 in a row. BuLLDog, don't look the flash.
BuLLDog.
You can't be doing that, bro. I understand he doesn't want to flash into the mid lane because Liangchen's there, but there is angles where you can flash away and still get to safety. We actually won't see the Baron take. I'm a little upset about that, but when Sheer goes in, it's because he's worried his backlane is going to get caught. The Croco and 1xN are going to get caught by the Encore. When they don't, it looks silly because he just goes in and dies. And if he hadn't have done that, they probably could have got some kills, maybe even have denied the Baron. Because as soon as Sheer's engage is gone, Ultra Prime just take out Croco with the all-out over the wall. And Baron is now on 5 members. We're very grouped up in mid lane.
Yeah, going to try to see if they can siege down this mid lane outer turret. LNG trying to soften them up with the poke, but... Now, the fact that they have lost the gold lead and the fact that BuLLDog and 1xN have been the target of so many of these plays means that it's just not really affecting them. Liangchen's so good in the front line with 2 tank items completed now. Ultra Prime with this Baron can very effectively siege. They managed to take down that outer turret. Ultra Prime now in control over the game. It is 45 seconds until this next Dragon. It is another shot at Soul for LNG. You better believe they're going to show up to it.
But the gold lead for BuLLDog has completely evaporated. What was it, 1K at 1.5 at a time? Now Saber's up 200 gold. He's completely closed and eclipsed that gap in mid. And the poke is just not landing, Gordo. Like, BuLLDog's paddle stars aren't landing. The mystic shots from 1xN aren't landing either. And Grizzly, all he has to do is just walk forward. Someone's going to walk in. They have to. He's going to ult them. There's no real tank on this LNG squad. Sheer is the tankiest member you get. Maybe some shields from Missing can help that, but the Dragon's spawning and LNG have no prior and no vision.
Yeah, trying to get their way in through mid here. They did manage to push up that wave, but they don't really have any way to make sure that their poke connects. BuLLDog's abilities just flying out into the middle of nobody here. There's Croco looking to be able to make the jump over the wall. He does have the vision, throws out his doggies, gets over, steals the Dragon Soul, and Croco will give Mountain Soul to LNG. Now the fight bringing out on the other side. Encore lands across him. He will drop on down. It's 1 kill back over to Ultra Prime for that soul.
That was nearly completely illegal. I thought the Croco was going to be able to get out there. And it's completely for free. Croco dies, it doesn't mean anything. There's no Baron up. They probably can't threaten this top tier 2. Maybe they can with Xia pushing down the bot. He does have TP to join, but what a smite steal from Croco. Gives the Mountain Soul. Looks like with the members here, they probably will have to lose this tower unless both of these waves get absolutely one-shot. But I'm so shocked that that is even allowed to happen. And not only that, but Croco nearly gets out. Look at his flash timer. If he has flash there, he is completely out instantly.
I mean, huge props to Croco, man. Not really having the resources to be able to keep him out here. It would have to be either one of the ultimates of Hena and XiaoXia landing on him, or it'd have to be Liangchen marking him over the wall. Neither of those conditions are met. So he jumps on over and he takes it. They probably just needed to play that slower and clear out the control ward. Didn't do so. And Croco makes him pay for it, picks up the Serpent's Fang as well. Now that's going to be real effective against some of this shielding coming in from both Cassante and Seraphine. And LNG, I mean, they don't have a comp to really try to go into the mega late game here, but their Ezreal still a scaling threat, and they just got themselves a nice permanent buff for the rest of the game.
The late game for LNG here is mostly dictated by how well they press their keys and how well they click. This range draft, the poke comp, if it's hitting, there's nothing Ultra Prime can do. Okay, Grizzly can send it on BuLLDog, but even then, like, you can get Mikhail's by missing, and then Grizzly's just in there, and the ults. The ults is what can follow from Ultra Prime. Saber can too, but realistically, if Grizzly goes in, Mikhail's is on BuLLDog, or he Zhonya's is it as well. Grizzly is just in the fray, probably dead. So for LNG, they have to be hitting their skill shots. Grizzly, how does he keep finding these angles? Perfectly behind. Missing's just dead. If he walks in here.
Oh, wow. Fishing around with the Mantra Qs. Doesn't actually spot them, but manages to have the self-control to not face check this time either way. Calling up Sheer now into the area. He and Liangchen will see each other. Pings going on down, so both know where the flankers are coming from. Sheer still wants to be able to advance forward. They aren't going to pull the trigger onto him this time. Meanwhile, Croco and Saber duking it out on the top side. That will be between worlds blown by Saber.
It's a big tool. I mean, Baron spawned. That means that Aurora can't follow Grizzly anymore. So Aurora, like, one of the biggest benefits to Aurora is the ult, being able to access the backline through your ult, or at least impact it with the ult, not by, you know, taking the wall, but, you know, you can do that too. But now that that's down, it is ticking up pretty quickly, but there's a window here where LNG can look for a fight, like, or at least go for their poke. But Ultra Prime out on the map first. Looks like Saber will be picking up the blue buff, and BuLLDog has one of his own. I mean, Mountain Soul as well means the all-in is slightly worse with the resistances and the shield. BuLLDog finds a sleep, but won't be able to chase it. Croco tries to look, but that would be very risky if he went full.
Yeah, that's some decent damage onto the vibe, but nothing that you're going to write home about. Yeah, like you said, Ultra Prime been a little bit ahead in tempo for most of the last few minutes. It's once again Sheer clearing out some of these side waves. Somebody on Ultra Prime going to have to do the same in the top side. And this game is kind of ground to a halt after Croco stole that Dragon Soul. Really makes Ultra Prime have to think twice about their engage angles. Just everybody's tankier. Everybody's going to last longer on the opposing side. Might not be too bad of an idea for them to pick up a Serpent's Fang somewhere either, but they don't have as easy of a user as the Nefiri. But I mean, the shielding is just going to go crazy now between the Karma and the Mountain Soul.
I mean, for LNG, this window here where nothing's happening is both good and bad. The good part is that 1xN has 4 items. BuLLDog hopefully will be working on either a Void Staff or a Rabadon soon. Getting parts of that would be really nice. If he could finish it, that would be great. This is going to be spotted.
Yeah, they do find that engage coming on through. Grizzly going to have to give up on it. Saber used his TP for that flank that will not end up manifesting, but in LNG, starting fight's not really their strong suit here. They are really hoping to connect some more of this poke, and Ultra Prime have done a good job of keeping themselves at relatively safe distance, where that's not exactly an option. Neither team really particularly interested in, starting up this Baron in a 5 versus 5 situation. So we continue to find ourselves in these dances. Once again, looking for potential engage is Grizzly, dodged away from by Croco. Trouble Bubble comes out, doesn't find a mark. And this is the cycle that will continue until eventually one of them land.
Well, Elder's spawning, so the fight will transition more towards the Elder, which is kind of easier to take in 2026 than Baron, which is crazy to say. But the bad news for LNG, I was talking about the good news for LNG, is that they can get these items online. The bad news is like you said, they do get outscaled because the team fighting is just better. The Rabadons is completed for Saber. He has 10 stacks Dark Seal. Hena has 4 items now as well, which is very strong for this Ashe. Has Pen for the Mountain Salt. So for LNG, if they can get one more item on BuLLDog, that would be great. But this is kind of as strong as they get item-wise, like stats-wise. They need to be finding this poke. Elder has spawned, and LNG once again don't have any vision. They don't have any prio. Are we hoping for a Croco steal again over the wall? How do we get in? Croco's in.
Croco's in there, maybe a little bit ahead of schedule. He's going to get chain CC'd, is able to jump away with the call to pack. Saber takes some damage over the wall, missing already incredibly low. Croco going to jump back in as here comes Sheer on the flank. Gets some good poke damage on towards Saber, and will immediately have to back away again. And this is a good position for LNG. Now they've got Ultra Prime funneled, and they're landing poke from both fronts. Got the Dragon down to about half HP. Now they just need to try to focus on getting Grizzly out of here. Grizzly coming in on the other side. 1xN has to be careful. There's the public execution. Find his way out of the backside. Diving forward is the side of Grizzly. Won't be able to find that play yet, and Croco's going to be able to execute onto XiaoXia. They're going to take down Liangchen as well. Another shot lands to take out the mid laner. Grizzly's the last one standing. Couldn't find his mark on the backside. Sent into the Guardian Angel, and LNG finally, after biding their time for 35 minutes, take a 5-for-0 ace and end the series.
Croco jumps into the pit, but every ult misses. Ultra Prime have way better engage, but it all goes under Croco, and he's in his immortality in W, his invulnerability. Then LNG just pick up the Herald, sorry, the Elder, and there's nothing that Ultra Prime can do. All their ults are done, and LNG will, in a bit more of a contentious way than we thought, Gordo, win the series 2-0.
We got to see a replay of that last fight again, man. Sheer and Croco act as a meat grinder there. They launch themselves through the entire enemy team, dishing out so much damage. The attempted re-engage on the other side by Grizzly is totally nullified, and it's such a great opportunity for BuLLDog and 1xN to just continue to fire on away. They played that Elder fight so well from a position where they had zero control over the river. You got to give credit to LNG there, and I had Ultra Prime on these Dragon setups. It's what we criticized from them in game number 1 and their inability to close out there. It's doubly true on the Elder in game number 2.
I can't believe that Croco has the bravery, courage to go over the wall like that when Elder is up. It's barely getting burnt down. He just jumps into the pit and dodges every ability and lives, and that is what wins the game. The fight is great from LNG. They, the snap in, BuLLDog and 1xN maintain their range, but if Croco just goes in and gets hit by anything, he's CC chained, he's dead. The game is the other way, and we're talking about a game 3 right now. Ultra Prime won that game. They have Elder and Baron, and we're looking at a game 3 talking about LNG couldn't get it done, but Croco manages to get it. The fight looks good, and even though there was a bit of a contentious mid-game there as we transitioned to that Elder, where LNG couldn't quite find the poke landing all the time, and they looked a little bit... Come on. You don't got to do it to him like this, all right?
I don't have advice, man. Don't bring up this graphic like I'm going to know what to say.
Look towards the future with sparkling eyes, Look that way. That's the way the future is. And... just dream of a better Ultra Prime split.
Look towards the future and just kind of block out the past as
exactly.
best as you can. You don't want to be looking at that.
Don't look.
It's a real disappointment here if you are Ultra Prime here, getting yourself into favorable situations against the best early game team in the group, one of the best early game teams in the league, twice in a row, and not being able to execute around these objective fights to end up losing both games. I mean, at least it's something you can look at for improvement, right? This is a laser-focused area if you're Ultra Prime coming into what is going to be a little bit of a long break until you get into Spring Split. Y'all need to get your objective setups much, much better here. LNG have now hit their 300th team victory in the LPL. Congratulations to them. What a way to do it as they close out an 12-2 regular season and a 6-0 perfect series record.
Yeah. Very nice, very strong, a very good team. And I am excited to see how this team matches up against other teams in Group Perseverance and Group Ascend, hopefully. 300th win is 11th in the league. I'm surprised. I guess a lot of the older orgs are changed and gone now as well. And there you can see the updated score for LNG 6-0, the only team in the entire LPL that managed to not lose a single series. Okay, they were in Group Nirvana. They definitely shouldn't have been in Group Nirvana, but we know that for sure, Gordo. I can't say that about any other group, especially Group Ascend, which we're going to next, because the Group Nirvana is the only group that has a very easy to point at number one, and that's LNG right here.
Yeah, and I mean, what a number one it is. I think this is a team that you got to get excited for coming into this play-in stage, and their ability to potentially be able to reach that main bracket at the end of the day, right? They're going to get matched up with Thunder Talk in round one. That's locked in, as we called out earlier. I think you feel pretty good about those odds, as Thunder Talk looking like the team that might close out the perfect 0-6, although that series, TBD, will be on with that one in a couple of days. From there, they're going to have to play either a Perseverance team or a lower-seeded Ascend team. That will be an interesting matchup. That'll be one of the most excited matchups of the play-in, no doubt, once we do end up getting there. I mean, this LNG team, that's where they'll get the chance to prove it. It's probably all going to come down to that best of 5 for them, and that's going to have such a big impact on their spring split. So certainly one to get very excited about, and certainly something where I mean, you better see them back to their strong early games and maybe clean up a little of these over-aggressions, because I don't know if you can make the comebacks that we saw today against non-Nirvana teams.
I agree. I mean, this is another one for, again, if you haven't seen the podcast, I do recommend going and watch the podcast. But the last episode we did a segment on LPL gold graphs. We had to guess the series. This is one that definitely could have been in there. That is an LPL gold graph. A very egregious looking one, but I think for Ultra Prime, their carries just aren't able to do enough for me. 40,000 damage, nearly 41,000 damage on Ezreal against this first pick answer, the Ashe, 16,000 damage in response is just not going to cut it in games like this, where you have pulled back the full lead. You have position around Elder. I think that's a thing for LNG is that when they didn't have priority on the map as a whole, when they were down tempo, they had no way into the dragon. Croco jumped over the wall, stole one, and jumped over the wall and lived another. So I think it's very risky to say for LNG to do something like that in other games, but I think for Ultra Prime, they need to, in this off-season, obviously there's work to be done. You know, you don't want to finish bottom in Group Nirvana, but find, whether it's a comp thing or a team coordination thing, some way of making these team fights better to be able to allow your carries to do more.
Yeah. And, I mean, they definitely found angles for Croco to be carry there, but also for 1xN and BuLLDog to have some highlight moments over the course of this series. I think that second game ends up getting a little messy there, and I think a lot of that comes down to BuLLDog and 1xN not being able to find the scenarios to really make this poke comp be fully felt. But one team fight, one really good performance from Croco. Sheer, I think, showed up this series as well in a way that we haven't seen much from him. I think he's been, you know, kind of a quiet member along the side. Obviously, 1xN and Missing, one of the most lane-dominant duos we have in the league in the bottom side. Croco and BuLLDog, so good as a mid-jungle duo. Sheer kind of been left out to dry, but he had an incredibly dominant series and deserves some flowers for this one. I think you can get excited for all 5 of these players coming into the play-in stage. With that said, now in our post-match interview here, so we are going to send it off onto our second series of the night, Jbetto. That'll do it for you and I, but IG versus JDG coming up next, so stay tuned.